I helped over 100 foreigners from over 20 countries buy home in Japan in the last 18 months. I now co-own AkiyaHub, the #1 global Akiya community with over 6,000 members since our launch 4 months ago. I'm going to compress 18 months of brutal Akiya truth and lessons I learned into this one video. Brutal Akiya truth #1. If you can't buy twice, don't buy it once. Because here's the thing, that $8,000 Akiya you're eyeing, that's not the total cost. There are taxes, closing costs, agent fees, registration, insurance, renovations, and then if you didn't do the due diligence, there's all the stuff you didn't plan for, like new plumbing, flooring issues, or fixing a roof leak, maybe even a tilt. I've seen so many people trying to stretch the budget just to get in the door, and the real costs haven't even started yet. So I make sure to tell every single client before we start working together, if you only have enough cash to barely buy it once, you're not ready yet. So don't do it. Wait, save, and plan more until you can buy it 2, 3, or even 4 times. Brutal Akiya truth #2. Renovations in Japan are a different beast. You're probably thinking, I'll just renovate it. But here's the truth. Renovation culture in Japan is expensive, slow, and demanding. Contractors tend to follow traditional standards, and many won't even take on jobs because they're too small or too risky. The first barrier you encounter is language, of course. Even if there is a contractor who speaks English in the area, they're likely in such high demand they only take on high budget, low risk jobs and steer clear on Akiya or anything outside their norm. You can probably demolish an abandoned house and build a new one with less money than they will quote you on some jobs. Next, keep in mind that Japan loves conformity, and renovation culture is no different. They are often done quite literally by the book. I think in many ways, this is actually a good thing though. It helps speed up the timelines, reduce the costs, and if you're targeting Japanese tenants with a rental property, helps meet their expectations of things being done a certain way. So don't expect Western style customization easily. You'll need a project manager, a translator, permits, serious patience, and a large budget if you want to really customize your renovation and go beyond what is standard here in Japan. Brutal Akiya truth #3. Location is more important than the house. Like the old saying goes, you can fix the house, but you can't fix the location. I've had clients fall in love with a cheap listing only to realize the nearest train station is 30 minutes away by car. You might think, well, I just get a car. But know that car ownership in Japan isn't that simple for non-residents. Before falling in love with a listing, ask yourself, how close is public transport? Does it come with a car parking space? Is there a supermarket within 15-minute walk? What's the winter like? Do you know what it takes to maintain a house in snow country? The amount of maintenance required so that the house doesn't break because of the snow every winter is in some cases a full-time job. And if you're not doing that job, you're going to have to hire someone for that. A small $100,000 home in a livable town beats a massive $10,000 house in a remote village every time. Brutal Akiya truth #4. Most agents don't speak English and don't want to help you. I'm not a licensed agent, but I work with many of them. Most real estate agents in Japan are great, but they aren't trained to work with foreigners. They don't speak English, well, don't want to, and often don't understand your context or needs. There are those who specifically help English-speaking foreigners, but they don't want to help you buy cheap houses in Japan. As you probably already know, agents get paid on commission, which is about 3% of the purchase price. So they're incentivized to sell more expensive homes, especially if they're English speaking. I have a friend who is a bilingual agent in Tokyo. He only sells homes that are priced higher than 80 million yen, or about $560,000. He told me straight up, he doesn't have the time to help people looking for cheaper homes. And I get it. That's why AkiyaHub works. We bridge that gap. So unless you're fluent or have a great bilingual rep who understands not just your language and Japanese, but also the real estate Japanese language, you're gonna hit roadblocks. You won't even be able to get a viewing, let alone make an offer. Brutal Akiya truth #5. The Japanese real estate process is 100% manual. Japan might seem like a tech-forward country, and in many ways, it is. But when it comes to real estate, it's still stuck in 1995. We're talking about fax machines, Hanko stamps, and handwritten documents, all still standard. I'm not even kidding. A few progressive agencies are starting to adopt things like digital contracts, and we always try to work with those when we can. But the vast majority of real estate companies are still firmly old school. A lot of foreigners assume the process will be modern, streamlined, and digital. It's not. Worse, it's often not transparent either. Listings disappear without notice, deals fall through with no explanation, and sellers can straight up ghost you. You either embrace the chaos or you make sure you've got someone on the ground who can navigate it for you. Brutal Akiya truth #6. Cash is king. If you're a foreigner without permanent residency or long-term visa, good luck getting a loan. Even PR holders often face uphill battles with Japanese banks. So 99% of our clients buy in cash. And those few that don't usually bring financing from overseas via their own business or personal loans. You don't need hundreds of thousands of dollars, but you do need to be ready to move quickly and decisively with what you've got. For rental properties, our clients average all-in price with renovations and everything is about $50,000 and $70,000. For vacation homes, the average is about $150,000. But everyone's unique and what they're looking for is different. Just don't forget lesson number 1. If you can't buy twice, don't buy once. Brutal Akiya truth number 7. The market isn't booming. It's fragmented. Here's something people get completely wrong. Japan isn't in a housing boom. Yes, Tokyo and Kyoto are competitive, but the rest of Japan, the market is fragmented, hyperlocal, and slow. People say there are 10 million empty homes, and yet most never hit the open market. That's because of inheritance issues, family disputes, taxes, pride, and bureaucracy. The houses do exist, but accessing them takes a lot of hustle, connections, and trust from all the parties involved. And that's what we specialize in. Brutal Akiya truth number 8. You need a local ally. You can't do this alone. Actually, let me say that differently. You don't want to do this alone. You need someone who understands the legal system, the language, the agents, the contractors, if you're doing renovations, and the local customs. This isn't HDTV, it's hyperlocal. Without the right ally, your dream can turn into a nightmare. And that's why so many people come to us after they try doing solo, wasting thousands of dollars and months of time, often losing the opportunity to buy the dream home they found and needing our help to start over from scratch. So don't go at it alone. You can join our community of thousands of like-minded individuals who share the same dreams and love of Japan. Even if you're not ready today, by the time you are, we'll all be here for you. Brutal Akiya truth number 9. You can build a life here, but it's not a shortcut. A lot of people ask, can I live in Japan if I buy a house? Short answer, no. Buying a house does not give you a visa. It's not like Portugal or Greece. If you want to live here full-time, you need to qualify for a visa separately. Work, business, cultural, spousal, etc. But owning a home can be a huge advantage once you're here. And if you plan to live part-time or seasonally, it's totally doable. Pro tip, we have many business owners in our community, and what I've learned from them is that the number one question to ask yourself when thinking about going down that route is, how can you help Japan? Japan is actually incredibly open to immigration and foreigners. They just want to make sure you're contributing to Japan positively. So as long as you can answer that question, you have no problem getting a visa and building life here. So here's a real example. My now business partner, Brett, actually started out as a client. He joined one of my programs, flew out to Japan to tour a few properties, and ended up buying a house. While we were viewing homes, he started an idea for a business he wanted to start in Japan. And it immediately caught my attention because his vision aligned perfectly with mine to make it easier for foreigners to buy homes in Japan and help solve the country's Akiya problem. But even after buying his house, the journey wasn't simple. It took Brett months to get approved for just a 6-month visa to live and work in Japan, all while preparing to move across the world, selling his house, his cars, and basically his whole life back in the US. Recently, he was finally approved for a business manager visa, which means he can now sponsor himself to live and work in Japan as long as he's running a successful business here. So what's the takeaway? Look for problems in Japan and ask yourself how you can solve them, not just with money, but with a mission. And that's how Brett and I teamed up. That's how AkiyaHub started. And that's how opportunity in Japan is often born quietly, locally, and one relation at a time. Brutal Akiya truth number 10. The best time to buy was 14 years ago. The second best time is now. We've seen the stories. The people who bought it in 2011, they got crazy deals. I mean, after the major earthquakes in northern Japan, no one wanted to buy real estate. But even today, there still is a window. Why? Because Japan's population is still aging and declining. The Akiya problem is not solved. It's actually getting worse in some areas. Local governments are begging for help. If you're prepared, informed, and realistic, I think now is still a great time to invest in Japan. And this is why I keep buying houses in Japan. You can be a major part in helping the country thrive by bringing your unique perspective, respect for our culture, and breathing life back into amazing homes all over Japan. But that window will close, especially as more global interest builds and the big investors start coming in. I don't want that to happen. I want everyone who has a dream of homeownership, who loves Japan, wants to explore its beauty, raise their family, build a cash flowing portfolio in a sustainable way that respects the local customs and helps their communities. I want all of you to come here and achieve those dreams. So if this was valuable to you, my only ask is to share this with someone who might need to know what it takes to buy a house in Japan as a foreigner. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.